and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, we look back on the anniversary of a police officer who lost his life in the course of duty and what has happened since.
Plus, more cases of West Nile virus have been found in birds, testing positive around the state.
And residents of Blue Hill are voicing concerns over a new multi-million-dollar housing development in their town.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have those stories and a bunch more coming up over the next hour. But first, to check that forecast, looks like a quiet day today, just partly cloudy. Maybe even see a few beams of sunshine.
Yeah.
And later on this week, a little rain moving in, so we should enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, seems like it. The fall is here. And
the fall is definitely here.
Usually it seems like it rains quite a bit in the fall.
Yeah.
All right, let's send it over to Devin Biggs for our full forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Your morning weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College in Calais. Check out the new aquaculture technology program. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, we had some areas of dense fog developing in a few spots this morning. Some in near parts of Bangor, some in Washington County too. Other spots further off towards the west, seeing some areas of dense fog. That, of course, will be going away as we get the day going. There is a small crowd advisory that is posted until 8 p.m. as we head towards you Tuesday along the coast and further on towards the south and west. So this will expire later this evening because of some active surf that we've been noticing along the coast. On land, we've had some clouds passing through last night. Nothing too ridiculous. We'll have a few clouds passing through today and sunshine coming out too, which will help to burn that fog off. Let's zoom things out right now. We have some clouds over parts of the ocean, some more active weather further off towards the west. We will have some opportunities for rain coming in very soon. Futurecast moving forward, just a partly cloudy sky for us today, and not much going on later on tonight, but later this week we will have opportunities for rain to enter the picture. As for the winds, not too bad, roughly at about 5 to 10 miles per hour or so. Nothing too ridiculous on the way with the wind anytime soon. So a forecast coming up for today, upper 60s under a partly cloudy sky, and that east wind getting up to around 5 miles per hour. The hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a lot of sunshine, few passing clouds, temperatures in the upper 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. We'll check out that 5-day a little later on. Well, first thing this morning, yesterday marked the 3rd anniversary of the passing of Hancock County Sheriff's Deputy Luke Gross. Gross lost his life in the line of duty while responding to a hit and run in 2021. Our Grace Blanchard spoke with members of the public safety community that continue to honor and remember him.
It was a huge impact, a huge hole, and 3 years later, that hole's still there.
On September 23, 2021, Hancock County Sheriff's Deputy Luke Gross was fatally struck by a vehicle while picking up debris from a crash along Route 3 in Trenton. For so many, Gross left a major impact on the communities he served.
We all had a special bond with Luke, whether you were the victim of a crime or at an accident scene or had the blessing to work with him each day.
Those who worked alongside Gross say he served with honor and distinction for 18 years.
Luke taught us a lot while he was alive, and he continues to teach us and inspire us, even for the last 3 years.
Members of public safety across the county are showing their support.
We received a plate from the sheriff's office that we display on my vehicle, every year at this time.
Dedham's fire chief also reminds folks that crashes are very frequent along Route 3, and it is vital to obey the move over law and be vigilant.
The more we can do to honor Luke's legacy and remind everybody about paying attention when they're on the roadways, we want to go home to after the call.
According to a spokesperson with the Maine State Police, no one was charged in connection with Deputy Gross's death. Gross did have safety gear at the time of the incident, but the sheriff's office has taken measures to increase safety, including upgraded light bars and lights that mount to their officers' shoulders to prevent another loss.
It's way more than just about you being tough or getting something done quickly. Be safe, always.
In Ellsworth, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news this morning, a Waterville man has pleaded not guilty to murder charges. 20-year-old Tyler Quarian entered that plea during a court appearance Monday in Augusta. Quarian was indicted on Thursday in connection with the shooting death of 22-year-old Justin Arola. Quarian was then arrested for murder on Friday, also charged with manslaughter and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. Arola was allegedly shot by Quarian shortly after 8 a.m. on February 19th on South Grove Street in Waterville. He's currently being held without bail, but that could change when bail is considered at a future hearing.
A 60-year-old man was found dead following a house fire in Auburn. It was around 1:30 Monday morning when fire crews were called to Washington Street. The home was engulfed in flames, and crews later found the body of a man believed to be Stephen Berry. Authorities say Berry lived alone at the home with his cat. The state fire marshal's office is now looking for a cause of the fire.
The Charleston Fire Department had to call on neighboring towns to help snuff out a machinery fire. They were called to a logging operation on Davis Road around 2:30 Monday. It was in a remote location with no water sources nearby. Charleston called on departments from neighboring communities to help get water to the scene. Once access was gained, the fire was quickly knocked down and no injuries are reported.
Now to a flurry of school threats creating concern across the state. Yesterday, leaders say a potential threat forced the evacuation of Mattawancook Junior High School in Lincoln. All students are said to be safe, with classes set to return to a normal schedule today. But that adds to other threats from Freeport to Dexter, York to Bethel, all dealing with this recently. In Gorham, a potential threat that popped up turned out to be a hoax that first surfaced in 2016. Mal Meyer reports from Gorham.
I've seen a lot of threats. I always report them.
Brianna Bullier is a senior at Gorham High School.
I see a lot on social media. It will be like, it'll be on one person's story, and then the next minute you'll see it on 5 other stories.
It's important for folks when they see something or hear something that they say something.
Police look at where the threats are coming from and the facts to figure out if they pose a danger or not.
Police is definitely a large draw on our resources. Obviously, when these types of threats come in, we take them very seriously.
Just like adds like a fear of coming to school, even though I feel very safe in our school.
In recent years, districts have devoted more resources to safety with new procedures, installing security cameras, and bringing in law enforcement.
It's just like different having like so much more security in school, because school used to just be school.
The stress of all of this has a real impact on a student's ability to focus and learn.
But when there are threats, potential threats or perceived threats, it makes it really hard to do that because they're in a survival mode.
I think kids are remarkable that they can still learn and pay attention in school when there's something else on their mind a lot of the time.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Let's do that.
Catherine Paul has seen how school has changed over her 20-year teaching career.
I feel like I'm the protector and I have to hold the room for kids who are nervous or who want to talk about things.
Providing reassurance is one of the things Claudine Emerson thinks the school does well.
We're here, the faculty, the staff, everyone is here to protect students. And so we make sure we communicate that.
And I think the key is to just talk about it openly and honestly and have good relationships with each other.
Each and every student always has someone they can go to.
It's a very welcoming environment, and that's what makes it feel safe here.
That was Mal Meyer reporting. In other news, West Nile virus has been identified in 3 more counties in Maine. The Maine CDC says wild birds in Piscataquis, Sagadahoc, and Washington counties have now tested positive. An alpaca in Lincoln County also tested positive, and a bird in Lincoln County had previously tested positive this summer. West Nile virus was also found in Waldo County. Meanwhile, mosquito pools in Penobscot County have also tested positive for eastern equine encephalitis. All of those illnesses are spread through the bite of an infected mosquito. The CDC is urging Maine people and visitors to protect themselves from mosquito bites by using repellents and by wearing long sleeves and pants. They also urge people to use screens on windows and doors.
Construction on the Taconic Bridge between Waterville and Winslow continues as Chinbro works to replace the aging structure. Portions of that bridge are 100 years old and are no longer useful. That's why the Maine Department of Transportation began reconstruction plans on the bridge in 2023. Crews are currently putting up steel for phase 1 of the project. They're also placing concrete for an abutment. The new bridge, which is expected to be finished in 2027, will carry 5 lanes of traffic, just like the existing bridge. The new structure will also feature widened shoulders for bicyclists and include sidewalks on both sides for pedestrians.
Well, fall is officially here, and the critical need for blood donations continues. Carolyn King, the executive director of the American Red Cross for northern and eastern Maine, says the blood supply has improved since summer, but it is still very fragile.
Blood on the shelf is what saves people's lives, so we need that blood to be on the shelf, ready for somebody's mom, somebody's neighbor, somebody's friend, somebody who needs it.
Only 3 out of 100 Americans can donate blood. King says it only takes an hour from start to finish, and she says every donation is key to making sure all patients relying on life-saving transfusions get the care they need, including car accident victims and those living with sickle cell disease. You can get more information or make an appointment at redcross.org. Anyone who donates before September 30th will get a $15 e-gift card.
You have a snack or a meal before you go donate blood.
Yeah, you don't want to faint afterwards or anything.
I came kind of close
Did
last
you?
time. I know, I shouldn't have done that. But they have snacks and water, and they're very helpful if that, God forbid, happens.
Yeah, the thing is, you never know when you might need it. A family member might need it in an accident or something. So
it's a great way to give back to the community.
It is.
All right, the time now is 6:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, vape companies may be targeting kids with vapes disguised like everyday school supplies. We'll learn more.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. Today, a partly cloudy day with highs near 68 degrees. Partly cloudy overnight. Areas of dense fog can be expected too. Lows dropping down to mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a chance of a few showers. Highs tomorrow around 65. We'll be right back.
Our country is counting on Bath Iron Works. 6,500 men and women building the most advanced naval ships in the world right here in Maine. So when extremist politicians threaten our jobs, I have to speak out. Austin-Ontario supported shutting down the government. We could have lost the Navy contract that keeps Bath Iron Works running. Austin-Ontario put his extreme agenda ahead of our jobs.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this ad.
If you've been in an accident with a truck, making the wrong call can be costly. Evidence and witnesses can disappear. You need to stop that from happening. These are some of the most complicated cases for a law firm, but not if you call one that handles truck cases every day. Call a law firm with the resources, experience, and power to go after every dollar you deserve. If you're hurt in a truck accident, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Tell them you mean business.
Name a way a woman likes her men and her cheese.
Full of adventure.
Family Feud. Stop all this adventure!
Weekdays at 9 on ABC7.
All summer, you're invited to the People's Court Block Party gone wild.
She kicked in my door twice.
You're out of your mind.
Real cases, real litigants, real neighborhood drama.
You don't walk around in your underwear in the yard, do you?
Why not?
The People's Court.
All this week at 4 on ABC7.
Welcome back, everyone. A group of residents are up in arms about a proposed housing development project on Salt Pond Blueberry Barrens in Blue Hill. Our Doug Banks explains.
People in and around the Blue Hill area have raised concerns about a proposed housing project that one resident says would include 9 multi-million-dollar priced houses built upon an undeveloped piece of land. Blue Hill resident Larry Lefkowitz told WVII the Salt Pond Blueberry Barrens was formerly a commercial blueberry farm owned by the Allen family in Blue Hill. He says a developer based in Kennebunk purchased the property from the family about a year ago for approximately $900,000.
Obviously, Blue Hill needs more housing, but we need housing for people like teachers and nurses. We don't need multi-million-dollar homes.
According to Cole, the land is home to various wildlife and says the housing project raises concerns over pollution, erosion, and the potential impact on the environment.
What people don't understand is that even though Blue Hill itself doesn't have strong zoning ordinances, the state of Maine has subdivision review criteria that any local planning board has to fulfill. 20 things on that review criteria. And number 8 actually is aesthetic, natural, and cultural impact. This piece of property is mentioned specifically in the 1999 Blue Hill Comprehensive Plan as an area of note that should be protected.
Cole says the developer revised their proposal to address those environmental concerns, and the Blue Hill Planning Board has asked for a third party to review it. But discussions have also been had about local stakeholders potentially purchasing the land, including the Blue Hill Heritage Trust. According to Lefkowitz, there's the possibility of setting up a community-led entity that would raise the funds necessary to purchase the land and then donate it to the Heritage Trust. WVII reached out to the developer but did not receive a response. In Blue Hill, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
According to a poll from the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, around 17% of high schoolers in Maine admitted to using e-cigarette or vape devices. Some of those devices are now disguised as common school supplies or even contain built-in video games. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard spoke with advocates to learn more about what parents should be aware of.
We see just about everything that you could imagine is a vape these days.
Mateo Hardy is a junior at Coney High School. He says tobacco companies are targeting youth in Maine schools by creating vapes that look like everyday school supplies, such as pens, highlighters, and more.
Hoodies that have sort of a concealed ability to smoke with inside that, so those are very hard to see for school administrators and teachers, even peers, to see that that's happening in the school. Also, like I said, one of the things that we saw this year was vaping product that looks like a video game, that is a video game and also a vape in one.
The problem, Hardy says, isn't just related to vapes, but also Zyn, which are small pouches of nicotine similar to chewing tobacco.
I have seen people, that have taken out their vape or have pulled out Zyns in the middle of class and put them in their lips, and then a teacher really doesn't know what a Zyn looks like because it looks like a piece of gum.
Hackett says many parents she's spoken to weren't aware that these products existed.
It's so important for parents to be aware and then also to be prepared, right? That young people might be seeing these things in schools, might be seeing these products in stores or online, and be ready to talk to your kids about these things in a way that is not aggressive and not judgmental, but really opens up the conversation.
Hardy adds this message to his peers who may be struggling with vape and tobacco use.
The tobacco companies have targeted you. You are a victim here, and that is something that you shouldn't be ashamed about, but you should talk about it. Tell people about how, the tobacco companies targeted you and used you to make money, and, ask for help. It's totally okay to ask for help.
In Augusta, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, a local food pantry in Ellsworth has recently raised thousands of dollars to support their communities while gearing up for their biggest fundraiser of the year. Loaves and Fishes Food Pantry serves thousands of people facing food insecurity, and they rely on municipal and individual donations. In their third annual Fill the Grand fundraiser, their goal was to fill 400 seats in the Grand Theater in downtown Ellsworth with donations and to raise $10,000. So far, they've raised $8,000 and are still accepting donations. They hope to raise another $2,000 by the end of the week to meet their goal.
The community has surrounded the food pantry, and the community comes out and shells us money all the time and helps us out with whatever we can do just to help the neighbors that are in need.
We are working hard to fill the pantry with food for our local neighbors who are in need, and also our long-term goal is to attempt to, lessen that need and help people by becoming more of a community resource hub in the future.
Well, the pantry is also getting ready for their biggest fundraising event of the year in partnership with Darling Chevy. The second annual Darling's Drives Out Hunger event will feature live and silent auction items, live music, and much more. With that fundraiser, they hope to raise at least $30,000, and it all kicks off at Darling's showroom in Ellsworth on October 3rd. Tickets are on sale now, and to learn more, you can visit our website at foxbangor.com. Sounds like the whole community is coming together in Ellsworth.
I'm so impressed at their creativity with these fundraisers. They're really making it a celebration and a way to come together in a supportive way.
It's fantastic.
Yep. All right, the time now is 6:19. After the break, just because it's getting colder, that doesn't mean there's a lack of locally grown fresh produce to go around.
We'll check out the scene from a local farmer's market as Good Morning Maine continues.
I lived and worked in Maine most of my life, and now I'm getting by on Social Security. People like me are struggling to heat the house in the winter. Energy prices are out of control, and it's devastating for seniors. But Jared Golden voted for Biden and Harris's tax that raises heating prices even higher. It's outrageous. The liberals changed Congressman Golden. He's leaving Mainers out in the cold.
Restoration PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Pat's Pizza in Holden is not just a restaurant that serves delicious food and pizza. They also have an adjacent party and event room. Consider having your birthday or office party at Pat's Pizza. They have indoor golf, a pro shop, and a beautiful 9-hole golf course open for the season. Pat's Pizza, Holden.
The stars are shining on GMA this week. Kate Winslet, Uzo Aduba, Shailene Woodley, Niecy Nash, Divine Joy Randolph, Javier Bardem, New Kids on the Block. This week on
Good Morning America!
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Fresh produce continues to attract shoppers to the weekly downtown Waterville Farmers Market. Area farmers gather at the head of the Falls Park on Front Street every Thursday, where the public can pick out their own vegetables, fruit, bread, and cheese. Interest in this local farmers market has been growing. Vendors say they're seeing more and more people stop by.
So like where I live, you know, the cars go by me 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. They don't tend to stop. So I do, at my age right now, I do just 2 farmers markets, Waterville and Augusta.
It's a great market. I especially love the community mushroom farm. Excellent mushrooms, and the corn has been fantastic.
The downtown Waterville Farmers Market is open 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursdays. And I know Bangor does theirs throughout the winter. Orono has a fantastic one. My mom works for Hart Farm, and she does the Sunday one in Bangor. And she just raves about the quality of stuff there and the people. And, you know, it's just fun. And I think a lot of places accept WIC as well. So
yeah, I think the food's better, too. If you get something that's locally grown, it just tastes better. You don't worry about pesticides and that sort of thing as much. You know, they take so much care.
You can get organic. Sometimes it's not all organic, but yeah, I know. I'm making a carbonara tonight, and you need local high-quality eggs, or just high-quality eggs. So I made sure to get some local eggs for that, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. All right, the time now is 6:22.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your morning weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College in Calais. Check out the new aquaculture technology program. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, we've had some areas of dense fog across parts of Washington County and parts of Bangor and further off towards the west this morning. As we get some sunshine going, this will be going away. We do have a small craft advisory up along the coast until 8 p.m. this evening. Some active surf being noticed in these areas with a system not too far away, and it's stirring the ocean up with wave heights at around 5 to 7 feet. This is why we have that advisory posted at this time, and wave heights further out towards sea at around 10 feet at this time. Meanwhile, we've had clouds passing through this morning, some of the clouds breaking up, so we will get some sunshine going on and off today, mixed in with cloud cover, sunny fog, of course, going away, and temperatures not too bad, reaching for the upper 60s today. A little bit more activity further off towards the west, revealing some rain. We'll have our turn for rain coming up later on this week, but for now, we are staying dry. But for now, we get to talk about potential tropical cyclone Nina is developing across parts of the not too far away from the Gulf of Mexico right now. It's not quite in there, at least just yet, but it will be developing very quickly. It's got winds up to 35 miles per hour, some higher gusts being observed. It's got tropical storm warnings actually posted. This thing is expected to intensify in a big hurry as it does make landfall in Florida coming up as we head towards Thursday evening, possibly as a Category 2 hurricane with maximum sustained winds at around 110 miles per hour before it weakens as it does move inland. So if you know anyone across parts of Florida, make sure they're paying attention to this. This system is going to be moving and intensifying very quickly. Meanwhile, back here at home, we stay quiet. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky moving forward for us today. Coming up later on tonight, we will be under a partly cloudy sky, but notice though we will have areas of dense fog again and more clouds on the way as we head towards your Wednesday with a few showers possible. And we may keep those showers going as we head towards Wednesday night and up parts of Thursday as our next wave of energy begins to move in. Average night temperature is 68 degrees. We'll do that today in the upper 60s, mid 60s as we head towards your Wednesday, lower 60s cooling off Thursday, and notice middle 60s Friday, upper 60s Saturday, 70s may get a return Sunday and also into Monday. Forecast for today, upper 60s, partly cloudy, east wind at around 5 miles per hour. Coming up for tonight, middle 40s, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, middle 60s, mostly cloudy, a few showers possible. Most of us should stay dry too. Southwest wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College. Rain moves in again on Thursday with highs in the low 60s. More showers again Friday, highs in the mid 60s. Upper 60s Saturday under a partly cloudy sky.
Something big is happening on Sylvan Road in Bangor. It's the big grand opening at the new Coastal Auto Parts store and warehouse. Saturday, October 5th is the big day. See the Crush Station monster truck. Stop by for food. Take advantage of great deals and more. DIYers, make sure to visit the Milwaukee Tent Sale for money-saving specials. It's a big place. It's a big deal. It's the new Coastal Auto Parts store grand opening, Saturday, October 5th from 8 to 3 on 200 Sylvan Road, Bangor. Come see us.
When R&K Variety in Hamden wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store, offering fresh cooked meals that don't break the bank, gasoline for your mean machines, or beer and wine so your night is fine. Stop by today.
Your piece of land demands the very best equipment. Kubota Equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience, with professional grade mowers, versatile sidekick utility vehicles, and compact tractors that get it done right. All backed by unmatched dealer support. Talk to your dealer today to schedule a demo.
Whether you're thinking of getting your first tattoo or building onto your collection of skin art,
Disconnected Tattoo and Art Company in Ellsworth provides the safest and most comfortable tattoo and piercing experience.
at Disconnected Tattoo, we'll combine your vision with our art to create something special that will last the test of time.
Don't trust your personal body art to anyone else.
Call Disconnected Tattoo today to schedule your consultation.
Or check out our Facebook page.
Disconnected Tattoo and Art Company in Ellsworth. The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Get my earpiece already. The Israeli offensive against Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon is now intensifying. Hundreds of airstrikes have been launched, with Israel warning residents of southern Lebanon to stay away from the group's weapons storage sites. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin has more from Tel Aviv.
Lebanon says this was the most deadly day since Israel and Hezbollah went to war in 2006, as Israel rained airstrikes down on southern Lebanon, attempting to stop Hezbollah rocket fire, which has menaced and threatened Israeli civilians for almost a year. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke directly to the Lebanese people.
For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage.
To prove that point, the IDF released videos spokespeople say show a home used to store a missile, complete with an opening for the weapon to be launched, and airstrikes followed by secondary explosions as stored weapons detonated. Israel took the step of sending electronic communications to tens of thousands of Lebanese civilians, warning them to get away from stored Hezbollah weapons.
We advise civilians from Lebanese villages located in and next to buildings and areas used by Hezbollah for military purpose, such as those used to store weapons.
Panicked Lebanese civilians created a traffic jam, fleeing north to escape the bombing. Lebanese officials say the collateral damage from the Israeli airstrikes include 2 ambulance crews blown up, hundreds dead, more than 1,000 injured.
What we've seen over the last week has been dramatic. The consequences on civilians has been huge.
Through it all, Hezbollah continued to fire rockets into Israel.
I feel more afraid, I don't know what happened tomorrow, after tomorrow.
Word tonight that Israel targeted the number 3 in Hezbollah's chain of command, Ali Karaki. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant made the public statement that Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah now sits alone at the top, but that may have been premature. Hezbollah says Karaki is alive and moved to a protected space. In Tel Aviv, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
And Israel's military spokesperson Daniel Hagari says that Hezbollah launched 250 drones into Israel on Monday. AP News reports that Israeli strikes on Lebanon on Monday killed more than 490 people, including more than 90 women and children.
With just under 6 weeks to go before Election Day, both nominees are zeroing in on key swing states this week. Both campaigns are visiting Pennsylvania, seeing it as a path to victory. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has more from New York.
We got to take our country back from these horrible people, because if we win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing. It's very simple.
Former President Trump spent the day in battleground Pennsylvania. Trump visited a local grocery store to talk about inflation and spoke to farmers about how he would deal with China.
My first call, I'm going to call up President Xi. I'm going to say, you have to honor the deal you made. We made a deal. You'd buy $50 billion worth of American farm product, and I guarantee you he will buy it 100%.
In the key state of North Carolina, Republicans are having to respond to reports gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson made disturbing comments on a pornographic website.
You folks want to focus on tabloid trash, and quite frankly, I am sick of it.
First of all, what he said or didn't say is ultimately between him and the people of North Carolina.
Meanwhile, Vice President Harris is calling for another debate with Trump and preparing to speak more about her economic plan.
Well, we can do more to invest in the aspirations, the ambitions, and the dreams of the American people while addressing the challenges that they face.
Polling still shows a tight race between Harris and Trump. A New York Times Siena poll has Harris ahead nationally by 3 points, but Trump with a narrow lead in the key states of North Carolina, Arizona, and Georgia. Harris plans to visit Pittsburgh and Arizona this week. Trump has an event in Savannah, Georgia, Tuesday. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Beginning this month, the U.S. Health and Human Services Department says ordering free COVID-19 test kits online will again be available. The Health and Human Services Department says this year's kits will detect certain strains of COVID and can be ordered ahead of the holidays when groups gather for celebrations. The agency hasn't yet given a firm date when the ordering can begin. An updated COVID-19 vaccine has also been approved by federal regulators. The CDC also recommends Americans get a new COVID shot for those 6 months and older. Lots of cases of COVID-19 around our area right now, too.
Yeah, I've gotten it once a year the past few years, and these free tests are a lifesaver because they're pretty expensive in stores. Yeah. I have only ever had to use those because you can order a bunch, so yeah, it's a good deal.
I think they cost like around $25 otherwise, right?
I know. Yeah, I'd rather buy a pizza.
Me too.
Thank you very much. Okay, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll hear from the Waterville Civil Air Patrol, who are a group of young people learning valuable life lessons and how to potentially save lives.
We'll hear all about it as Good Morning Maine continues.
Best value, go with the longest lasting brand, Toyota. And at the Toyota Best Value event, you can get a Tundra, the longest lasting half-ton truck with 1.99 financing, including hybrid and gas models. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
The longest lasting brand.
So for a vehicle with long-lasting value, see your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
The Maniac Snack Shack. You will find delicious, tasty, insane desserts. Oh, and wait, there is more. We offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner options for take home. You want something special? Let us know and we'll create that perfect treat for any occasion. The Maniac Snack Shack. Place your order today.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
When Angus got elected, he said he wanted to stand up for Maine's veterans. He wanted to give back to those that served, and I believe he's done that time and time again, year after year. from healthcare access to burn pit exposure, as well as housing. He's helped veterans every step of the way. I can't think of a better person to go back to Washington, D.C. and fight for us. And I can't be more proud to support this fine gentleman. I'm Travis Mills.
And I'm Angus King, and I'm proud to approve this message.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Tuesday, September 24th, 2024, and it is also National Voter Registration Day.
This holiday encourages Americans to register to vote for the upcoming election. It's your chance to participate in our democracy. And if you've already registered to vote, this is a day to make sure your information is current so you won't run into any problems on Election Day. Definitely makes the process a lot smoother.
Didn't you run into some problems that had to do with you had to update something?
Over the primaries.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed about this. So there was this new party, and I signed a petition saying, yeah, sure, I would love to be able to vote on this, but I felt misled, and so me signing a petition actually signed me up for this no labels party. And it made me so mad.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize when I went to vote in the primaries, they were like, no, you're not eligible to vote because you're in this different party. And I was like, what? Sorry, what? And they're like, you're not alone. A lot of people were kind of misled.
Right.
So I re-registered and everything, but that was only a few days before the election.
Right.
The next time. And then they told me, yeah, I'm sorry you won't be able to vote because it hasn't been 2 weeks or whatever. You have to wait 2 weeks if you register. So make sure if you need to register or re-register, do that with plenty of time before the election.
This holiday's a good reminder to go just double check it just in case.
What, are we only like 6 weeks away now?
I need to do it too because I've moved like 3 times, so
right.
They have my wrong address.
Yep, and you'll need to if you move.
Yeah. All right, moving on to history now. It was on this day in history back in 1789, Congress passed the Judiciary Act, which established the federal judiciary system, the office of the Attorney General, and the composition of the Supreme Court here in the U.S. In 1924, Boston, Massachusetts opened its very first airport. Not sure what it was called back then, certainly not Logan.
Right.
In 1934, Babe Ruth played his last game before a packed crowd at Yankee Stadium. And in 1952, Kentucky Fried Chicken opened up its very first franchise in Salt Lake City.
Thank goodness.
You would have thought it would have been in like Kentucky or something, but it was actually in Salt Lake City, Utah.
I love KFC.
Yeah. That followed the first KFC that was founded by Colonel Harlan Sanders, who began selling fried chicken from a roadside restaurant in Kentucky.
He really did look like that.
He
Look
did.
at that photo.
Yeah, I remember
just
when,
like that.
when I was a kid, he still appeared in television commercials and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
And
Cool. In 1963, the U.S. ratified a treaty to limit nuclear testing. That treaty was between the U.S., Great Britain, and the Soviet Union. In 1968, the TV news magazine 60 Minutes premiered on CBS. In 1969, the trial of 8 anti-war activists got underway in Chicago. The so-called Chicago 8 were accused of inciting riots during the Democratic National Convention at the height of the Vietnam War. Their convictions and contempt charges were overturned the following year on appeal.
Great documentary or movie on Netflix about that whole thing, too. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of shows you what was going on at that time.
Yeah, fun way to learn.
Yeah.
In 1998, the U.S. Federal Reserve released $2 billion worth of $20 bills. The new bills featured enhanced security measures to make them more difficult to counterfeit.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actress Nia Vardalos. I'm not sure if I pronounced her name right. Is it Nia or Nia?
I don't know.
I know her from My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was great in that.
Right.
She is 62 years old today. Singer and actor Ben Platt is 31. And this is also the birthday of the late Jim Henson, who died in 1990 at the age of 53. He, of course, was a puppeteer and filmmaker who created The Muppets and other beloved characters.
Oh, and most importantly to me, it's also my dad's birthday.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we celebrated on Saturday. We went to Fairfield's Antique Mall and Kushnick Brewing in Augusta.
Good deal. You said you were going to get some Bowley's hot dogs, too. Did you ever make it by there?
We were gonna, but he wanted a beer, so I was like, oh, Kushnick is even better then.
Yeah, there you go. Beer, hot dogs.
Yeah, I know.
If you get them both.
I know. Yeah. I know.
Well, happy birthday to him. Hope he has a great day out there.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah.
All right, moving on now. It's going to be kind of a cloudy day, but that shouldn't deter you if you want to get outside or anything like that.
Yeah, partly cloudy day, not bad at all.
Yeah. Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Your morning weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College in Calais. Check out the new aquaculture technology program. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, we had some areas of dense fog developing in a few spots this morning. Some in near parts of Bangor, some in Washington County too. Other spots further off towards the west, seeing some areas of dense fog. That, of course, will be going away as we get the day going. There is a small crowd advisory that is posted until 8 p.m. as we head towards you Tuesday along the coast and further off towards the south and west. So this will expire later this evening because of some active surf that we've been noticing along the coast. On land, we've had some clouds passing through last night. Nothing too ridiculous. We'll have a few clouds passing through today and sunshine coming out too, which will help to burn that fog off. Let's zoom things out right now. We have some clouds over parts of the ocean, some more active weather further off towards the west. We will have some opportunities for rain coming in very soon. Futurecast moving forward, just a partly cloudy sky for us today, and not much going on later on tonight, but later this week we will have opportunities for rain to enter the picture. As for the winds, not too bad, roughly at about 5 to 10 miles per hour or so. Nothing too ridiculous on the way with the wind anytime soon. So your forecast coming up for today, upper 60s under a partly cloudy sky, and that east wind getting up to around 5 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a lot of sunshine, few passing clouds, temperatures in the upper 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Looks like a nice day ahead.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, the Waterville Squadron Civil Air Patrol is an active group with cadets ages 12 through 21 years of age who are learning search and rescue skills, leadership training, as well as countless life lessons.
4 of those cadets were recently promoted during a special ceremony in Waterville. Our Jody Hersey takes us there.
A lot of people don't even know that Civil Air Patrol exists.
The Waterville Composite Squadron Civil Air Patrol is the civilian auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force. It consists of cadets ages 12 to 21 and many adult senior members as well that support and supervise the cadets within the program.
And we train cadets in emergency services and aerospace education, as well as leadership and character and physical training.
First Lieutenant Diana Southwick has been the squadron commander since 2019.
Once a month we have a training exercise where the cadets and senior members train in search and rescue operations where they'll search for simulated downed planes or lost hikers.
The Waterville Composite Squadron Civil Air Patrol meets here at the LaFleur Airport every Thursday night. And last week's gathering was a meeting that 4 of the cadets will never forget. Each of the 4 earned the Brigadier Billy Mitchell Award, which promotes the cadets to the rank of second lieutenant. It's a milestone 17-year-old Travis Kammer of Waterville has been working to achieve for 2 years.
I would describe it as challenging but rewarding. I'll be going into the Army as an E3 thanks to this award.
17-year-old Grace Kiernan of Anson has no plans of going into the military, but says being a part of the Civil Air Patrol has prepared her for a better future.
I've learned a lot about aerospace and science and a bunch of different leadership techniques and how to be a better leader.
In Waterville, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Good for them.
Yeah, right? All right, right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have our sports updates.
Don't go away.
If you're a licensed technician and ready to get back to work or make the switch to a rewarding career, then look no further because Ray Plumbing and Heating is hiring and ready to add you to their family today. For more information, visit rayplumbing.com.
That nip in the air can only mean one thing. Dorsey's fall introductions have arrived, and we need to make room. Hundreds of items have been marked down store-wide. Flexsteel Thornton sofa in a great quality Revolution fabric, list price $23.99, now only $8.99. Power reclining lift chair that lifts for $10.99, now only $5.99. Dorsey's fall clearance is a perfect time to get any room in your home ready for the winter months. Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A, Holden.
Your local professional, eco-friendly office space partner is Levesque Business Solutions, your one-stop shop to get the job done. Handling all your office furniture and printing machine needs at an affordable price. Offering full system integration into your workplace and local service on everything we sell. We can even remote monitor your system with just-in-time inventory and service need assessments. Little to no downtime gives you peace of mind. At Levesque Business Solutions, your solution is only an email or a phone call away.
If you're a licensed technician and ready to get back to work or make the switch to a rewarding career, then look no further because Ray Plumbing and Heating is hiring and ready to add you to their family today. For more information, visit rayplumbing.com.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Every day of your life.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Over the weekend, Maine field hockey head coach Josette Babineau joined the 200-win club with a victory on Saturday in front of tons of fans and alumni, and the moment was a great representation of what she's built over the past 18 seasons.
It just means a lot. It's just reflecting on like all the years.
This weekend, Maine field hockey head coach Josette Babineau joined the 200-win club right here at home.
And it was so special to be able to do this today. You know, she's played such a huge role in the whole program here, and it was just a really special day for her.
She does everything that she possibly can for her players, and, you know, as hearing her talk, all she does is give credit to her players, but she deserves a ton of credit. She's a great coach.
Babineau has spent the last 18 years at Maine, and every one of her wins has been with the Black Bears.
I think also for me the meaningful part is that, you know, this was my first head coaching job, so all the wins have come, you know, at one school, and that means a lot to me as well.
And in those 18 years, the program has come quite a long way.
Coach has been with the program for so long. She really put Maine field hockey on the map.
Then I think about, you know, when I started, we were on the football field. The football field needed to be replaced. A lot has gone on, obviously, behind the scenes. To keep growing and moving the program forward.
Babineau brought Maine to the NCAA tournament in 2021. The university then cut the ribbon on a state-of-the-art facility last fall. And while she's been the overseer of it all, she knows it would not have come without those around her.
Just great players, always great people on and off the playing field. So it just makes me think about that and appreciate that, all the great athletes that I've coached, and also all the great staff that I've worked with. It's a special place, but it's a special place because of the people in our program.
We're playing for so much bigger than what we play for on the field. We're playing for this huge legacy that we have, all of the people behind us, everyone who works behind the scenes, and it's so special that we got to share it with everyone today.
Big congratulations to her. Let's stay with the Black Bears. It was a good weekend for them. Maine football getting back to 500 with a big 26-15 win on the road at Merrimack. Again, it was a slow start for Maine, trailing 10-0 in the first, but the defense forced a 3-and-out in their own territory that sparked the first touchdown of the game for the Black Bears. From that 3-and-out on, Maine outscored Merrimack 26-5. Including a 20-0 margin in the second half. The 26 points was Maine's best offensive output of the season, and the Black Hole defense really only allowed 2 field goals, so it was good complementary football that head coach Jordan Stevens wants to build on.
You know, that's the thing, is like playing complementary football is something that has to happen here at Maine. You know, we have to be able to do that, and you know, we have to do that sooner in games, you know, and kind of build off each other. So, you know, definitely pleased with, you know, how our guys showed that they can do that.
Let's go to some hockey now. 2 weeks away from puck drop, and our first USCHO online poll is here, and the Black Bears found themselves nationally ranked to start the year. Maine was picked 12th in the first poll of the year. Reigning national champs Denver started the season ranked first with 42 first-place votes. They will come to the Alphont first weekend of January. That should be a good series. There are 6 Hockey East teams ranked, BC and BU at 2 and 3. Providence right under Maine at 13 and UMass at 14. Northeastern, the final Hockey East team, ranked at 20th. Finishing up with some football, the Patriots starting the week with a bonus Monday practice as they prepare for a road trip out west to visit the defending NFC champs, the 49ers. The Pats coming off of a rough week, losing on the road to the Jets, getting beat pretty bad, 24-3. They had a really rough night offensively. The O-line, specifically the pass protection, has really been a problem this year. But Thursday was the first game the Patriots really got dominated in all around every facet of the game. And Gerard Mayo still thinks his guys can play to the identity of being a tough team.
I don't want to jump to conclusions because after we controlled the line of scrimmage throughout the preseason and also controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, you know, the first 2 games, and then to sit here and overreact on the third game and controlling the line of scrimmage, I don't want to do that. I still think we have a tough physical football team, and that's my expectation, and that's also their expectation, is to go out there and establish your toughness. And then in the fourth quarter, hopefully you have a chance to win.
All right, that game at 1 p.m. Sunday. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Maine Paving is Eastern and Central Maine's go-to for all things paving. Maine Paving specializes in commercial and residential paving, grading, seal coating, and crack filling. And get this, refer someone that schedules a job and receive a $250 Visa gift card. Currently booking for this year.
A family-owned and operated business since 1953, Hammond Lumber Company recognizes the value of their team members and the importance of employee satisfaction. Hammond is honored to have been named one of the best places to work in Maine for the 4th consecutive year, and Hammond was once again selected as one of the best places to work in New Hampshire by Business New Hampshire magazine. Hammond is always looking for great people to join their team. To find your place on the Hammond team, click on the careers link at hammondlumber.com.
I was hurt in a bad motorcycle accident. I tried to handle it on my own, but I could tell quickly I was in way over my head. The other driver's insurance company was very difficult to work with. That's why I decided to call Joe. Smartest move I ever made. I went from being completely overwhelmed with doctor's appointments and medical bills to feeling normal again. Joe Bornstein's office took care of everything. I was completely satisfied with the outcome, and I wish I'd called sooner.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
Maine Paving is Eastern and Central Maine's go-to for all things paving. Maine Paving specializes in commercial and residential paving, grading, seal coating, and crack filling. And get this, refer someone that schedules a job and receive a $250 Visa gift card. Currently booking for this year.
All right, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our 5-day forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your morning weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College in Calais. Check out the new aquaculture technology program. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, we've had some areas of dense fog across parts of Washington County and parts of Bangor and further off towards the west this morning. As we get some sunshine going, this will be going away. We do have a small craft advisory up along the coast until 8 p.m. this evening. Some active surf being noticed in these areas with a system not too far away, and it's stirring the ocean up with wave heights at around 5 to 7 feet. This is why we have that advisory posted at this time, and wave heights further out towards sea at around 10 feet at this time. Meanwhile, we've had clouds passing through this morning, some of the clouds breaking up, so we will get some sunshine going on and off today, mixed in with cloud cover, stony fog, of course, going away, and temperatures not too bad, reaching for the upper 60s today. A little bit more activity further off towards the west, revealing some rain. We'll have our turn for rain coming up later on this week, but for now, we are staying dry. But for now, we get to talk about potential tropical cyclone Nina is developing across parts of the not too far away from the Gulf of Mexico right now. It's not quite in there, at least just yet, but it will be developing very quickly. It's got winds up to 35 miles per hour, some higher gusts being observed. It's got tropical storm warnings actually posted. This thing is expected to intensify in a big hurry as it does make landfall in Florida coming up as we head towards Thursday evening, possibly as a Category 2 hurricane with maximum sustained winds at around 110 10 miles per hour before it weakens as it does move inland. So if you know anyone across parts of Florida, make sure they're paying attention to this. This system is going to be moving and intensifying very quickly. Meanwhile, back here at home, we stay quiet. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky moving forward for us today. Coming up later on tonight, we will be under a partly cloudy sky, but notice though we will have areas of dense fog again and more clouds on the way as we head towards your Wednesday with a few showers possible. And we may keep those showers going as we head towards Wednesday night and up parts of Thursday as our next wave of energy begins to move in. Average night temperature is 68 degrees. We'll do that today in the upper 60s, mid 60s as we head towards your Wednesday, lower 60s cooling off Thursday, and notice middle 60s Friday, upper 60s Saturday, 70s may get return Sunday and also into Monday. Forecast for today, upper 60s, partly cloudy, east wind at around 5 miles per hour. Coming up for tonight, middle 40s, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, middle 60s, mostly cloudy, a few showers possible. Most of us should stay dry too. Southwest wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College. Rain moves in again on Thursday with highs in the low 60s. More showers again Friday, highs in the mid 60s. Upper 60s Saturday under a partly cloudy sky.
You bought your Toyota because Toyota is the longest lasting brand. You put your trust in Toyota's reputation for quality. Now put your trust in Toyota-trained certified technicians who install genuine Toyota parts to help keep your Toyota a Toyota. Contact your New England Toyota dealer today to learn about affordable September service offers that feature genuine Toyota parts. Trust the experts at Toyota Service Centers and keep your Toyota a Toyota.
Something big is happening on Sylvan Road in Bangor. It's the big grand opening at the new Coastal Auto Parts store and warehouse. Saturday, October 5th is a big day. See the Crush Station monster truck. Stop by for food. Take advantage of great deals and more. DIYers, make sure to visit the Milwaukee Tent Sale for money-saving specials. It's a big place. It's a big deal. It's the new Coastal Auto Parts store grand opening, Saturday, October 5th from 8 to 3 on 200 Sylvan Road, Bangor. Come see us.
Backed by popular demand, the Lucerne Inn in Dedham presents its amazing Sunday brunch. Join us every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a culinary experience like no other. Indulge in an exquisite selection of dishes, all while enjoying breathtaking views. Seating is limited, so reservations are recommended, but walk-ins are always welcome. The Lucerne Inn Sunday Brunch, where great food meets a spectacular view. Call today to reserve your spot.
The Autumn Gold Festival is Ellsworth's annual fall celebration, organized by the Ellsworth Area Chamber of Commerce. From boat rides to carnival games, our cars show to our golf tournament and so much more. Come experience the Autumn Gold Festival while enjoying the splendor of fall in Ellsworth.
You know how when you're living your life and then all of a sudden you're out there helping cops solve crimes? That's me.
That big brain of hers is going to help us close a lot of cases.
Got a dead body, gotta go.
High Potential, new tonight on ABC.
All right, looks like we're about out of time. Good Morning America is next on ABC7. We'll continue broadcasting with a renewed hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
We thank you for joining us and hope you have a wonderful day.
Something big is happening on Sylvan Road in Bangor. It's the big grand opening at the new Coastal Auto Parts store and warehouse. Saturday, October 5th is a big day. See the Crush Station monster truck. Stop by for food. Take advantage of great deals and more. DIYers, make sure to visit the Milwaukee Tent Sale for money-saving specials. It's a big place. It's a big deal. It's the new Coastal Auto Parts store grand opening, Saturday, October 5th from 8 to 3 on 200 Sylvan Road, Bangor. Come see us.
The most important thing is family. AAA shares the same family values. For over 100 years, AAA has been providing legendary service and has helped what it values most, its members. Join our family, and you could save on your auto insurance policy with our competitive pricing. Just like family, we offer you our support when you need it, whether it's questions about your policy or with our most trusted roadside assistance service. Visit AAA.com/insurance and find out how much you could save.
Join us every Friday this season as we celebrate the return to the gridiron with the most highlights, reactions, and analysis of your favorite teams. Catch Sports Blitz Friday at 11 on ABC 7. Sports Blitz is brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares. And by Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A Holden, where you'll find furniture that's in stock and ready for delivery.
Pat's Pizza in Holden is not just a restaurant that serves delicious food and pizza. They also have an adjacent party and event room. Consider having your birthday or office party at Pat's Pizza. They have indoor golf, a pro shop, and a beautiful 9-hole golf course open for the season. Pat's Pizza, Holden. When Rowell's Garage in Dover Foxcroft wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
To the Rock On Post and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, we look back on the anniversary of a police officer who lost his life in the course of duty and what has happened since.
Plus, more cases of West Nile virus have been found in birds testing positive around the state.
And residents of Blue Hill are voicing concerns over new multi-million-dollar housing developments in their town. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. Those are just a few of the stories we'll bring to you this morning. But first, a check of the forecast. Pretty good news in that department, too. Today looks like a nice day, partly cloudy. We'll see some sunshine. It will be comfortable and wonderful and
joyous. And happy and nice.
And groovy, too. So get out and enjoy.
Yeah, have a groovy day. But before we get to that, let's have a look at that forecast.